I'll call our meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, May 11th, 2021 at Jacksonville City Hall. This is our regularly monthly City Council meeting. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize our County Commissioner Patrick Reagan is here in attendance, along with our Sheriff Brent Dixon. Appreciate you guys coming. Our first item is our invocation, and then we'll do the pledges of allegiance. Our invocation will be brought to us tonight by Reverend John Atkinson of the People's Church. If you'll come, please.
Would you join me in prayer this evening? Our Father, we are grateful for another day of life. We thank you for the many blessings that you give us each day. Lord, we thank you for this great city, God, that you've given us to live and serve in. And we thank you for this council and all the public servants, Lord, that serve each and every day to make this city as great as it is. Lord, we pray that today, during this meeting, God, that you would give wisdom to each and everything that is said and done. And we ask you, Lord, for your guidance in all things that we do in life. We thank you for it all, and we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. If you'll join me in the pledges. First to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Our next item is to swearing in of mayor and council members, District 1 and 3. So we want to come down front. That would be Hubert Robinson and Tim McRae and myself. We'll get that done. Ready? Amen.
Do it at the same time or one at a time?
I wanted to.
I'm going to swear you and you're going to swear them.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
I, Randy Gorham,
I, Randy Gorham,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of Mayor of the City of Jacksonville,
of Mayor of the City of Jacksonville,
of the State of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability preserve,
and to the best of my ability preserve,
protect, and defend the Constitution
protect, and defend the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God. Thank you. You ready? You can repeat after me. I'll go slower than he did. Those are long sentences. I, Hubert Robinson,
I, Hubert Robinson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of City Council Member
of City Council Member,
for the City of Jacksonville
City of Jacksonville,
of the State of Texas,
State of Texas,
and will to the best
and will to the best
of my ability
of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Good deal. Thank you, sir. And then Mr. Tim McRae. I,
Tim McRae,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Council Member of the City of Jacksonville, Texas,
of Council Member of the City of Jacksonville, Texas,
of the State of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will, to the best of my abilities,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Good deal. Thank you. Is these next or the?
No, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, cool. I'll come back. That should be Robinson. Okay. Our next item on our agenda is the nomination and appointment of a mayor pro tem. And we do this every 2 years. That mayor pro tem steps into the shoes of the mayor if he is out of town, if he is unable to serve. So at this time, I would entertain a nomination for mayor pro tem for the next 2 years.
Mr. Mayor, I'll nominate to reappoint Councilman Goen as our mayor pro tem.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? None. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And our mayor pro tem is running a little late. He should be here at 6:15, so got caught up in the weather. Now we have 3 special presentations. The first one will be Police Week. So if you'll, Chief, if you'll come and we'll take care of that. This right here.
Oh, Steve, you're up there.
Look good? Picture. This is a proclamation, Peace Officers Memorial Day and National Police Week. Whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the city of Jacksonville, Texas. And whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15 as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as Police Week. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, more than 20,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and have been killed in the line of duty, including 4 members in the city of Jacksonville, Texas. And whereas the International Association of Chiefs of Police have declared law enforcement officer safety and wellness a top priority, and the IACP's Center for Office Safety and Wellness promotes the importance of individuals, agency, family, and community safety and wellness awareness. And whereas the members of Law Enforcement Agency of Jacksonville, Texas play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Jacksonville. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. Now, therefore, I, Randy Gorham, Mayor of the City of Jacksonville, Texas, formally designate May 9 through 15, 2021, as Police Week in Jacksonville, Texas, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in the communities across the nation. Signed this the 11th day of May, 2021, by Randy Gorham, Mayor. So. Good. Very good. Thank you. You bet. Our next is a proclamation of the National Skilled Nursing Care Week. And I think Peaches Bush, yeah, there she is. If you'll come forward, that'd be great. How are you? Good. Good to see you. Whereas we honor and respect our elders and citizens of any age with physical or intellectual disabilities who reside in skilled nursing care centers of Jacksonville, Texas. And whereas skilled nursing care centers throughout our area are holding events in observance of National Skilled Nursing Care Week, May 9 through 15, 2021, using this year's theme of Together Through the Seasons. And whereas the job of skilled nursing facilities and the caregivers who work there have been made even more difficult with the COVID-19 pandemic and the additional challenges that it has entailed. And whereas I urge all citizens as allowed to visit a loved one, family member, or friend residing in any care setting and offer a kind word, a loving smile, and spend time participating in various activities to unite those from all walks of life in need of our continued love and support. And whereas the city of Jacksonville is committed to quality health care, we take this moment to embrace the essence of the theme, Together Through the Seasons. Let's join all residents, patients, caregivers, nurses, other staff, volunteers, and visitors in celebrating their special week. Therefore, I, Randy Gorham, as Mayor of Jacksonville, Texas, declare the week May 9 through 15, 2021 as National Skilled Nursing Care Week, a week to honor both our vulnerable citizens who receive care and the dedicated ones giving that care. Signed, Randy Gorham, Mayor. You bet, thank you. Our last is Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month. I got a call 2 weeks ago from this guy, didn't even know him, Robert Dye, and he asked me to judge a taco eating contest, and I told him I'm all about that. Taco cook-off, yeah. So I showed up, when was that, last Saturday?
Yes, sir.
And ate some great tacos from the motorcycle clubs around East Texas. A lot of great men and ladies there, so.
We really enjoyed it, and I appreciate you
You
coming
bet.
out.
I enjoyed it.
I hope so.
You bet. So I've got a proclamation here.
Come on in.
Come on in.
We're trying to get them in there.
That's good. Is everybody here? Cool. All right. Oh, here comes three more. Come on. Come on in. This is just a proclamation, whereas today's society is finding more citizens involved in motorcycling on the roads of our country, and whereas motorcyclists are roughly unprotected and much more likely to be injured or killed in a crash than any other vehicle drivers, and whereas campaigns have helped inform riders and motorists alike on motorcycle safety issues to reduce motorcycle-related risks, injuries, and most of all fatalities through a comprehensive approach to motorcycle safety. And whereas it is the responsibility of all who put themselves behind the wheel to become aware of motorcyclists, regarding them in the same respect as any other vehicle traveling the highways of this country. Now therefore, I, Randy Gorham, Mayor of the City of Jacksonville, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2021 as Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, and we will urge all citizens in our community to become more aware of the inherent danger involved in operating a motorcycle and give the operator the respect on the road that they do deserve. Sign this the 11th day of May 2021, Randy Gorham, Mayor.
We appreciate you.
You bet.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. Good deal. Is that it? All right.
y'all.
Thanks y'all for coming. Yeah. I trust we'll hear you leave.
Yeah.
Number 7 is our citizens' participation. This is the time where we set aside to hear from citizens that want to come and address the council. It's a time where they can come, spend about 3 minutes talking to us about a concern that they have. We try to limit that to 3 minutes, and I'll keep a little stopwatch, but I trust you will hold it there. We have one. We have one? Yeah. And it is Jack Sheridan. So, Jack, if you'll come to the podium, state your name, and then talk to us for 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, all of y'all.
You bet.
My name is Jack Sheridan. I'm with the Jacksonville Detachment of Marine Corps League, Detachment 1381. And we're here, y'all should have a list up there, a lot of things. One correction on the bottom of it, we were given a proclamation September of 2019 for veterans from the county, and Chris Davis signed it off. But I said Dick Stone was mayor. He was not mayor at the time. So that information was erroneously provided to me. So
That's fine.
we sent you a list. First is Toys for Tots. And we're not here. Y'all have got letters from people about the fire station over here. We know y'all voted to demo it and all this. And that's fine, we don't have a problem with that. What I'm here for is, we have a MARDAT detachment that we're working the paperwork on right now. We have a deuce and a half, which is a high water rescue, a rough terrain rescue type vehicle, sitting under a shade tree at one of our members' house west of Bullard. We don't have a home. I'm not asking you not to destroy that. What I'm asking you for is to extend the time and let the Marine Corps League, when it becomes vacant, use that till we get our grant through to build us a facility and all of that. It shouldn't be but like a year and all. And, you know, y'all can take that under consideration, look at it. You've got cards for some of us that you can contact us when you make a decision. But we interface with a lot of people. And let me say this, we never charge 1 red cent for what we do. We do full military honor funerals of 5 Marine Corps League detachments in this area. We're the only one that does that. We've gone to Lufkin and done them. We went to Mineola at the request of the United States Marine Corps to a sergeant major several years ago that passed away. We provide all that stuff ourselves. I own my own M1 Grand, so does several other members out here. And we do that. Mr. Bateman's here. We interface with him. Lone Star Military Resources, I could be here for an hour talking about what they do. Sure. I mean, they are fabulous. And you see all the things we do. Y'all can look at this. The Boy Scouts, we did a deal on floating the flag we do at the ceremony and all. We done Mr. Underwood just last week and all. And the week before we done another one in the rain, we might add. We do the flag presentations over here beside the fire station for like 3 years. So we're involved, we're here. Right. And again, never charge a nickel. All we're asking is y'all to get together, consider if you would extend that period of demolition to allow us to use that so we could get our vehicles here instead of having to go all the way to Bullard to come here. And, you know, and all, but it will, I don't know, most of y'all probably remember Pierce's Chapel when they got hit many years ago. It was hours getting back there. And a lot of them trees were broke up too high for a helicopter to get in. So that vehicle can go across them trees and get back there without chainsaws or anything else. So that's all we're doing. We're asking you to consider that and to help us out because we're here to help y'all. Sure. Anybody that's a veteran and their family so chooses, we will do a full military funeral for them. Okay. And that's all I got to say. I want to thank you for your time. You bet. And all that, okay? Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Our next item is a public hearing to hear and receive public input on budget amendments. So I will open that up for a public hearing for anybody that wants to come and talk for or against the budget amendments. We're 6 months into our annual budget, and we do this every year. So it's just some housekeeping cleanup. Anybody want to speak in favor of or against it? Seeing none, I will close that portion of our public hearing. Item number 9 is to discuss and consider with possible action an ordinance approving budget amendments as presented by staff.
Yes, Council, this ordinance is the budget amendments. The majority of the budget amendments are involved and deal directly with the CARES Act funding that the city has received for this calendar year. Does council have any questions or?
Y'all were provided a list of those budget amendments. Seeing though they're in a debit and credit format, I was probably the only person that got excited when I saw these. Anybody have any questions? I'll entertain a motion then.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we pass an ordinance approving the budget amendments presented by the staff.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Tim McRae.
A second.
Second by Councilman Mindy Gallick. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 10 is another public hearing to hear and receive input on a requested zone change from G commercial to E multifamily on the 600 block of Loop 456. So that's the proposed new apartment complex on Highway 204, I think. So we will open that up for anybody that wants to speak in favor of or against. You can come to the podium and talk to us a little bit. Good, come. Just state your name and your address.
Yes, sir. My name's Howard Blanton. I live on 215 Toby Lane.
Okay.
And we have a concern, my wife and myself and others in the neighborhood, in relation to, I guess it's information. My concern is where this proposed unit or building's supposed to be at. I got concerned about traffic flow. It's bad enough as it is with people coming off of 79 onto the loop. And I know that because just about every morning when I leave home to go over to my church, traffic's a whole lot heavier than it used to be. And I can imagine when you talk about putting in a multiple unit apartment complex, it's going to get worse, plus the danger factor involved. When you talk about folks coming off of 79 onto the loop, they ain't going too slow. As a matter of fact, they're wanting to get to 55, and if the access to this building is going to be right there off the loop, I see problems with that, and I'm hoping a study has been done and conducting, in concern of that. Plus, when they go and start clearing the land and messing with the plant life that's there, we already have situations where the wildlife likes to come over across the road and visit with us, and I can imagine when they start taking trees down and that kind of thing, it's going to get worse. And I've not heard anything about that. Plus, I haven't heard about how big of or how many units this apartment complex is going to be, and what's the plans for the future if it becomes a big success. I haven't heard anything about that, and that's concerns me and my wife have in relation to that. Plus the fact that the folks that live across the street from us that border that property, we already know that one neighbor has said we've got to leave because of the fact it's going to be bordering the backside of their property, and they're just not excited about the ramifications of what's going to come from that.
Okay, very good. Thanks for your concern. Appreciate it. Anyone else want to speak in favor of or against? Yes, sir. Yeah, Mike McEwen.
In the interest of full disclosure, I will benefit personally if the transaction does go through, but I've got to tell you, every time an apartment complex has been built in Jacksonville, it is filled up, hasn't had a negative impact on our traffic, and this particular apartment complex is going to be an upscale apartment complex for Jacksonville, and it's going to help that part of the town greatly. But I honestly do not see traffic as an issue. Also, the complex will be on the eastern half of this land. It's not going to occupy the entire tract, part of which does back up to a residential neighborhood. But it's going to be economic benefit for Jacksonville, and we need that to keep the city growing and economically improving.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close that portion of the public hearing. Let's see. Item number 11, I think that's where, is to discuss and consider with possible action an ordinance changing the zoning from G commercial to PD multifamily planned development in the 600 block of Loop 456.
Yes, Council, you will see the drawings of the complex in your packet as well. This did go through Planning and Zoning. Planning and Zoning did recommend approval for the PD, and so this zoning will be for planned development, multifamily, but planned development is going to be the majority part of it. As far as the comments, I think those are all self-explanatory for both individuals. If you have any specific questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I mean, this is a full price. These are not government subsidized apartments. These are full priced apartments.
Yes, these are market
We as a
rate.
council have kind of taken a stand against, we don't want any more subsidized housing in town. And so these will be more designed for school teachers and medical professionals and that type person.
Yes, these are market rate apartments.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion then on that ordinance.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance to change the zoning from G commercial to PD multifamily in the 600 block of Loop 456.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Rob Goen. Second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any other discussion we need to have? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, and that motion carries. Our next item, number 12, is to discuss and consider with possible action the 2020-2021 certified tax roll. And I think Mr. Lee Flowers is going to give a presentation.
Give that a moment to make its way around the podium there. I appreciate Roxanna Briley for bringing this to our attention. The matter in question, as you get this handout, we had a correction to make on the certified tax roll levy. The corrections in question are noted on your handout. They are supporting numbers that the clerk, when she transposed them onto or data entered them into the sheet, made a mistake on. The biggest thing that I want to make sure that we all understand and take away from this, the total tax levy that's on the certified sheet from October, as well as the amended sheet that we just issued, is the same number. So there's no issue with the total tax levy that was certified to you. So the revenues that you had estimated, that you built your tax rate off of, none of that is in jeopardy. I felt like it was the right thing to do to Mr. Mayor Gorham, being an accountant, should be able to appreciate this. Issuing an amended certified tax levy should give enough paperwork track records for your auditors as well as our auditors when they come in to do their work on our 2020 year and your 2020 fiscal year. Are there any questions that you might have?
If no questions, council, at this time, I'd like to reconvene into executive session to consult with our attorney on matters covered by attorney-client privilege.
Okay. We will go into executive session at 6:27, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you. Okay, it is 6:40, and we are reconvening into regular session.
Yes, council, at this time, I'd like to make a recommendation for council's consideration on two items. Item number one is to allow the mayor, city attorney, and city manager to draft a resolution calling for the removal of Mr. Lee Flowers from his position at the appraisal district. Number two, authorize the city attorney and city manager to take any legal action up to a lawsuit dealing with this second certified appraised value.
Okay, you've heard that recommendation, so do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Rob Goen, a second?
A second.
Second by Councilman Tim McRae. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There is none, so that motion did carry. Item number 13 is our consent agenda. These are items that require little or no deliberations by the council. You can see those there. It's just approving the minutes, appointment of a municipal judge, resolution of an interlocal agreement, A through E. Does anybody have anything there? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, have a motion by Councilman Tim McRae, second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carried. Item number 14 is to discuss and consider with possible action a resolution modifying the bylaws of the Vanishing Texanum Museum.
Yes, council. As you recall, last year and then this year, we renewed it for an additional time, ending or putting a moratorium on term limits for our appointed boards and commissions. And so these bylaw changes adopt the removal of term limits as well as changing the place of business to represent the address at 315 South Ragsdale instead of the previous City Hall on Commerce Street. And those are the only two modifications to the bylaws, and so staff is recommending approval.
Okay. You've heard that. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to modify the bylaws of the Danish Antiques Museum.
Okay, got a motion by Councilman Rob Goen. I'll make the second to that. Is there any discussion we need to have? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 15 is to discuss and consider with possible action the necessary steps to add 2 members to the Lake Advisory Board.
Yes, Council. After consulting with the city attorney, we will do an ordinance for this, and the Lake Advisory Board has requested that we increase that board from 5 to 7 appointed positions, as well as the building official and city manager serve as ex officio non-voting members. So that will take the board from 7 to 9, but there'll be 7 members. In addition to that, their bylaws they want to change, and they will become an advisory board for all business regarding the lake. So they will take a more in-depth role in the lake rules and regulations as well. This board wants to take on all the lake rules and regulations from building and reevaluate those to see if there needs to be any modifications. So this board is going to start meeting on a regular basis monthly, and then we will go from there. But for the next several months, they will be very, very, very busy looking at the rules and regulations. Primarily, they deal with the building issues over the concession stand areas. Their primary focus, what it has been. So they're going to be more involved with the lake, and staff is recommending approval of the ordinance.
Okay. You've heard that explanation. I'll entertain a motion.
I motion we add 2 members to the Lake Advisory Board. Oh, never mind.
Legal has not reviewed the ordinance.
We don't have an ordinance yet.
Oh, I thought I got a draft to you. So you could make the motion to approve the ordinance based off of legal approval from Brett.
Okay, I make a motion based on the legal approval of the ordinance that we add 2 members to the Lake Advisory Board.
So we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Very good. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you for
Hearing
clarifying
none.
that, Greg.
Yeah. He told me to remind you and I forgot. I'm sorry. I'll own that one. So, item number 16, discuss and consider with possible action approving Emergicon as the selected vendor for EMS billing.
Yes, Council. Staff went out for a full sealed RFP, and Emergicon is our current provider, and Emergicon scored the highest of all of the applicants that applied, 290 points. The next highest was 200, then it was 177, and then the lowest one was 92 points. So staff's recommendation is to continue with Emergicon.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make the motion that we approve Emergicon as selected vendor for EMS billing.
Have a motion by Councilman Rob Goen.
That's it.
Second by Councilwoman Mindy Gallick. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item 17 is to discuss and consider with possible action awarding the 2021 street overlay project to Drury Construction. Drury, how do you say that? Drury Construction. Very good. Item 17.
So, Council, as you recall, during the budget workshop, we opted to contract out our paving services. So this is awarding the bid for $142,500. This is the base bid. Under law, we may be able to increase this bid by 25% if both parties agree. During the bid process, we were very, very stringent in our bid specifications, and we learned a little bit from that. And so when we go out for bid next year, we think we will get a better process, and that all comes down to the scheduling, the way we did it. And right now, A lot of raw goods, the cost is just fluctuating so far that they were concerned about getting too far out with their fixed costs. So I think it's just kind of a strange market right now. So we want to award this, and then we will redo it again next year and try to get more streets done.
But this is a budgeted, yeah, but
Yes.
this is our budgeted overlay
Correct.
this year.
Well, actually, this is less than our
Less,
budgeted
yeah.
item.
Right.
But as council recalled during the workshop, we were very far behind in some of our cuts that we did for utilities, especially during the winter storm. And with this rainy season, we are actually contracting that service out instead of doing it in-house to get caught up. And so some of that money is going to go to pay for that.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion for that one, number 17.
I'll make a motion that we award the 2021 street overlay project to Drury Construction.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Tim McRae,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Mindy Gellick. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item 18 is to discuss and consider with possible action approving the engineering contract with Schaumburg and Polk for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Boating Access Grant.
So council, give you a little bit of history. We finally have the approval from the state of Texas. It took many months, several emails from Mr. Haberly from SPI to try to get this thing processed moving. So we will be adopting a schedule, and we'll send that out to all the lake residents and make that public here in the next week or so. But basically, this is the next step. I have signed the agreement with the state of Texas to receive these funds. Everything is in order. So it is time to go ahead and issue the contract to Schaumburg and Pope to begin the engineering. So the new plan and schedule of events is we will do the engineering and design during the months of remaining May, June, July, and then hopefully bid sometime in August, and then award a contract to a bidder in September, and then construction to begin September, October-ish, and then be complete by next May. And so we are a little bit behind, but that behind again was caused by the state of Texas not giving us the agreement that we needed to enter into to use the grant funds.
That's great. We've been waiting on this one a while,
We have been waiting on this one a while.
so I'll entertain a motion on that.
I'll move that we approve the engineering contract with Schaumburg and Polk for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Boating Access Grant.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Tim McRae, second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carried. Item 19, to discuss and consider with possible action a resolution denying an encore rate increase.
Council, this is the standard rate increase denial that we do every time Encore requests a rate increase. We have a legal team that a majority of the municipalities work with, and that is their recommendation as well.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion on that item. Or I'll just make a motion. I'll make a motion we discuss and that we approve the resolution denying the encore rate increase.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Randy Gorham, a second by Councilman Tim McRae. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item 20 is a presentation of the after action report for the winter storm, February 2021.
Yes, Council, I'll be brief with this. We do have the after-action report in the agenda packet, and I think we've discussed this many times, so I don't know that we really need to go over all the details, but probably the first thing we want to do is thank all of our partners that worked with us. Cherokee County Commissioners did a fantastic job helping us get with TxDOT. TxDOT did a great job with the help of the county. Those two worked endlessly to get our roads cleared on Highway 79, 69, and then some of the ancillary roads with them. In addition to that, I think we had a great response from all of our law enforcement agencies in the county during this event, as well as our fire and EMS with that. So we have talked in length about the benefits of the AMI project and how that assisted the city with that event, and probably with the AMI project probably saved us a lot of potential of having to issue a boil water notice or running out of water entire citywide, which many other cities in East Texas did do, and ended up having to rely on some other things. In preparing the after action report, one of the things that I learned is both of our medical facilities, UT Health and Christus Mother Francis, the Jacksonville locations actually supported their other locations. So Jacksonville actually supported Tyler because they had water, they had stuff. We were actually doing things for our facilities in Jacksonville was actually supporting the other locations in East Texas. And both of them mentioned Tyler specifically because some of the things that they were able to do here that they were not able to do in their other locations. With that, we do have a series of improvements that have come about, so that's where I'd like to spend the majority of our time. The first one would be secure food supply, and that is, we got very lucky that Mr. Goen was willing to serve our employees for all of our public works, police, and fire, and everybody else that worked. And he served meals for 6 or 7 days for us, 2 times a day.
Everybody else was closed.
Everybody else was
We
closed
had no option.
and stuff. Places run out of food, so we do need to do a better job of having a food chain secured for this type of an event. Second thing is secure adequate fuel. While we had adequate fuel and we never ran out of fuel, we actually do need to have more fuel on standby for us, so we have some plans in place for that. The biggest problem that we had there is the fuel hub where we got the fuel from, they lost power and they didn't have generation, so we couldn't get the fuel out of their tanks into our tanks. So we need to work on securing a larger supply chain for fuel, and primarily it was diesel is where we ran into the largest issue. Regular unleaded we were able to keep up with all of our city vehicles except for the diesel. The next item is secure additional backup generators for all critical city facilities. Again, we did not have many of our city facilities go down. Chief Williams made a decision early on before the storm got bad, and it turned out to be a brilliant decision, is we actually turned the police department off of power and went strictly off of the generator and did not let it go back up and down, which turned out to be a very good thing because there was a lot of peaks with the power, and there was some cities that sustained major damage to the electronics and some of the infrastructure that they had because of the peaks of the power being turned on and being turned off. So that was a decision that was made 2 o'clock in the morning, either Saturday or Sunday, I forget which day, and then we ran it all the way through Thursday and then converted back over to power. But we had several facilities that did not have backup power that were critical to us, and we were very fortunate that those locations did not lose power.
Is that natural gas or diesel?
That one was actually natural gas.
Okay.
At the new public safety complex, it will be diesel.
Okay.
The next one is improved fire suppression disconnects. We've talked about the AMI project and what it did, but we probably need to do a better job in creating an ordinance in working with having all the disconnects for fire suppression systems outside of the buildings. I know of at least one situation that Chief Fortner, along with 3 other guys, were piled into about a 2x2 hole in between a lot of stored materials trying to shut off a fire suppression system that ruptured in the building. And so there was several others that happened. We had another one that after the storm, they turned off a section of town for water to try to fix a fire suppression system, and it adversely affected customers that were on the same line. So I think we need to do a better job and create some ordinances and get those in place to where fire suppression systems have valves that are easily accessible outside of the building and that are properly located. The next one would be creating potentially a joint facility for housing for emergency use. We are talking with the county on having a joint facility. While we do not want this necessarily to be called a shelter, because that throws you into a whole different animal, a warming center or something like that had backup power could be a huge advantage to us, and you will hear more about that coming in the future. We did hear from both hospitals that their lobbies and waiting rooms had an enormous amount of people that were just trying to find power, whether it was for warmth or it was for oxygen generation or whatever it is. And so we really did not have a facility to help with that. So that is another one. Then the next one is create procedures for housing city employees during emergency events. It worked. It worked fine this time, but we probably should have a better system in place for housing the employees and then better utilizing our employees during an event like that. And then the final improvement is improved contact information for all of our utility customers. Again, I've complimented James Hubbard and Sherry McDonald from JEDCO. They were a huge help to us contacting and making contact with all of the commercial customers. We had a pretty good contact for our residential, but that is something that we need to continually try to improve on and update and make sure we have good contact information for all of our utility customers. So one thing I forgot to mention in that, and I thank the county and TxDOT, but I also want to thank Central Baptist Church. They actually did open up their facility and they housed people both from the city and the county for multiple days. The list of thanks go on and on and on, but that was a huge benefit to us, and one of the concerns that we have with the facility is if the church would have gone down and been affected by the power outages, then that facility would not have been available to us. And I think they had up to 25 people stay at the church between the city and the county. We actually had parks employees that were out there helping feed those individuals with the church volunteers, and the church did a great job with volunteer. Both our police department had people there helping with security. Our fire and EMS had to run a couple calls out there as well in providing that. Again, I've said this before, but I do want to say this again, is that we did have a lot of people without power. And with that, I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to let everybody know is that the power outages were not directly related to our local power provider. Encore was not the reason for those power outages. The vast majority of those were caused by the ERCOT grid and the lack of management that ERCOT had on that grid, which I don't need to go into anything else other than saying that, because I think everybody's heard everything with that. But that is basically the end of our after action report. If you have any other questions, please don't let me know. You see total participation. We had about 128 people working that event during that week.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Gregg? Very thorough. And good points. Good points. Next item is our city manager's report. So you got any?
I have several.
Okay,
so first thing is, I hate to have to say this, but it is what I do have to do, is I want to thank Roxanna Briley for her over 5 years, almost 5.5 years service to the city of Jacksonville. She has tendered her resignation, and this will be her last council meeting tonight. So I wish Roxanna the best, and I appreciate all the work she has done. You heard a report earlier that if it hadn't been for her, the tax appraisal issue that we addressed earlier would not have been found. She has done a great job for the city, and we all wish her the best. There will be a going away gathering for her at a later date. She does not know that yet, but there will be one in the next couple weeks. during the day, and we'll let council know when that is, and we'll give her a plaque at that time. The second thing, as I'm extremely excited, is the library is done. And when I say done, is all the renovation, construction is all done. We still have to finish the paint on the outside of the building, weather permitting. We will get that done before the ribbon cutting, but we know what the weather pattern is right now. If you've not been down there, I welcome all council to go down there. Trina's down there every day now, or one of her staff is there. The move has begun, and the mover has done a great job for us. That ribbon cutting is scheduled for May the 27th at 10 o'clock in the morning, and so we will do that, and then we'll be ready to go for that. And if you have not seen it, majority of the shelves are in. The vast majority of them are already installed, and it looks fantastic. So we're super excited about that. The last finishing touches that will not affect the operation, like the outside painting and the window, the front window art, will be installed in the next week or so. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. is the Police Officers Memorial. This year it'll be held at Love's Lookout, rain or shine. If it's raining, they'll be underneath that covered area. So welcome everybody to be out there at 9 o'clock in the morning. Also this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, again, it seems to be the common phrase tonight is weather permitting. The rodeo will take place Thursday and Friday and Saturday night, so just want to remind everybody about that. And then this is our last council meeting prior to the Tomato Fest, I believe, and just want to remind all of the council that this year the city will be doing something we've never done before. It's going to be called City Central, and so we will have all city departments represented. We're also going to have activities for the kids, Touch the Truck, where they'll get to walk around, play with, sit on, sit in a lot of our equipment that we have, police, fire, public community services, as well. That's where the restaurant or the restroom trailer will be. And so we are super excited about having the first time that we have City Central at that event. And with that, that is all I have.
Okay. Anybody, council members, have anything they want to talk about, say, comment?
We do not need to go into executive session.
Okay.
So we will be canceling executive
All right,
session.
we'll take that off. Well, then, no other comments. We will adjourn at 7:05. Thank you for your participation.